listeners, and welcome to yet another episode of the Nigerian Football Weekly podcast with me, your host, Okereke. Today is episode 51, and it'll be the usual, talk about the top 5 leagues and the non-top 5 leagues and how our Nigerian footballers are doing in all of them. And we just might see a Nigerian player win a league title in one of the top 5 leagues in Europe for the first time probably since Victor Moses did with Anthony Nwakaeme. But someone correct me in the comments if I got that wrong. But anyway, let's get into it. So starting with the Premier League bunch, I'm starting with Watford this week. We saw the Watford boys get absolutely battered on Wednesday night against Crystal Palace at home, 4-1. Ekong and Kalu seem firmly rooted to the bench. They haven't played any minutes for Watford in any of the last 3 games. And Dennis continues to start. We know he's probably their most important player alongside Ismail Assar, but he wasn't able to help on Wednesday. Zaha got a brace in that game. Mateta scored and Conor Gallagher. However, on Saturday, they did turn it around a little bit. They got a credible 0-0 draw against Manchester United away. You could say Man United missed quite a few chances that should have won them the game, but hey, it was 0-0. Despite that, though, Watford still look like they're in big trouble. I think they're currently 19th in the Prem, and it doesn't get any easier for them. Next up for them, they play Arsenal at home on Sunday. So, as you could see, you know the team I support. So, you know who I expect to win that game, considering our current form. But anyway, moving on to the Leicester boys. Lukman and Didi and Kelechi all started in Europe last week Thursday as Leicester beat Randers 3-1 in the return leg of the UEFA Conference League tie. The guy who scored the goal for Randers is actually a Nigerian, Stephen O'Day. But good to see Leicester progress. And they didn't have any games over the weekend because they were due to play Chelsea, who, as you know, were playing in the League Cup final against Liverpool. Next up for Leicester, they play Burnley away tomorrow, Tuesday night. Today is Monday, 28th of February. And then on Saturday, they play Leeds United in what will be the first game of the Jesse March era at Elland Road. So that should be an interesting one. Leicester currently remain 11th in the league, so they've got a lot of catching up to do. So let's see what happens there. Moving on to Brentford, I don't know what's happened with Frank Onyeka, but he's fully a substitute now, like a new sub. Yet again on Saturday, he didn't play any minutes as Brentford lost 2-0 to Newcastle at home. Josh Da Silva got an early red card, which didn't help Brentford. However, it was good to see Christian Eriksen make his first appearance since he collapsed on the pitch during the Euros last summer. So shout out to Christian Eriksen. Next up for Brentford, they play Norwich away. I think that'll be a tough game because the way Brentford are sliding down the table, it's safe to say that they're definitely in a relegation battle at this point in time during the league. And then finally in Everton, Alex Iwobi started the game yet again. So he started in the game on Saturday as Everton were very unlucky to lose to Manchester City. It was quite a cagey game, to be fair, for most of the game, even though City dominated possession before Phil Foden scored an 82nd minute goal after Michael Keane literally missed his kick. I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but hey. And somehow Everton got denied a penalty after Rodri blatantly handballed in the box. I don't know what VAR was thinking with that one. And earlier today, it got announced that Everton have made complaints to the Premier League. But unfortunately, you know nothing's going to come from that. Anyway, next up for them, they play in the FA Cup 5th round against Boreham Wood at home on Thursday. So you like to think Everton would at least win that game. And then they go away to Tottenham on Monday night. So that should be quite a tasty game. But you like to think, well, not like to think because I don't like Tottenham, but you would expect Tottenham to win that game, if you get what I'm saying. Anyway, in terms of other Premier League fixtures that have happened since the last episode of the podcast, last week we had some midweek Premier League games. So on Wednesday, Ben scored the winner against Tottenham as they won 1-0 in that one. Liverpool thrashed Leeds 6-0 in what was one of the games that started to put into motion Marcelo Bielsa's sack. Mane scored 2 in that game. Salah scored 2 in that game. And the 2 centre-backs scored a goal each, Matip and Van Dijk. On Thursday night, we saw Arsenal beat Wolverhampton 2-1 after going down to a Hangi Chan goal. Nicolas Pepe, one of my favourite players, as you probably know if you listen to this podcast, came off the bench to score a brilliant equaliser. And then he set up Lacazette, who shot towards the goal. Even though they gave it as a Sarr on goal, it's Lacazette's goal and Pepe's assist. I don't care what they say. And then in terms of the actual game week 27 fixtures, on Friday night, we saw Southampton beat Norwich 2-0. Courtesy of Che Adams and Oriol Romeo scoring. And then on Saturday, lunchtime, Tottenham then battered Leeds 4-0. And that was it for Marcelo Bielsa. Harry Kane scored in that game. Son scored in that game. Kulusevski, who looks really, really good, scored in that game. And Matt Doherty scored in that one as well. We know Joel Linton and Willock scored the goals for Newcastle in the 2-0 win over Brentford. Crystal Palace, we saw Jeffrey Schlupp score a goal before Milivojevic got an own goal, which tied the game for Burnley. And then Ollie Watkins and Matty Cash scored for Aston Villa as they beat Brighton 2-0 away in what was probably a bit of a surprise result. And then in the only Premier League game on Sunday yesterday, we saw West Ham United beat Wolves 1-0, courtesy of a goal from Thomas Souček. He hasn't scored as many goals as he did last season, but it's good to see Souček on the score sheet. I like Souček. Everyone likes Souček. Anyway, next up in the Prem, there is one more midweek fixture this week. Burnley play Leicester City tomorrow night, Tuesday, as I mentioned earlier. And then Leicester will be kicking off the Premier League weekend on Saturday, hosting Leeds United in the 12:30 p.m. kickoff. And then we've got 5 3 p.m. kickoff games with Burnley hosting Chelsea. That should be an interesting affair. Aston Villa hosts Southampton. Norwich hosts Brentford. Newcastle hosts Brighton. And Wolves also host Crystal Palace before Liverpool host West Ham United in the 5:30 p.m. kickoff game. That should be very interesting because you remember West Ham beat Liverpool 3-2 early in the season. And I'm sure Liverpool will be keen to avenge West Ham and potentially keep the title race open considering the recent results Man City have had, especially the Tottenham loss last week. On Sunday, Watford play Arsenal at Vicarage Road. Hopefully Arsenal could win. And then in the 4:30 p.m. kickoff, it's the Manchester Derby. Manchester City play Man United. This should be an interesting game because people always expect Man City to whitewash Man United, but in the last 4 years, Man United have only lost once to Man City at the Etihad Stadium. Man United tend to do really well over there, so we'll see what happens in this game. It's too hard to predict. And then finally on Monday Night Football, we'll see Tottenham play Everton. Moving on to Serie A, and as I said earlier in my intro, we just may see Victor Osimhen become a Serie A champion this season. We don't want to get carried away for Napoli yet. Although on Thursday they got blown away by Barcelona 4-2. Barcelona look really, really good, I must say, right now. And I miss Aubameyang. I've even got him on the back of my shirt. But Barcelona beat Napoli 4-2 in the Europa League second leg. So Napoli are out and they can focus all their efforts on the league. They then beat Lazio 2-1 away in what was a very, very tough game. With Fabian Ruiz scoring a last-minute goal from outside the box. Great finish as well. Insigne scored the first goal, and that was a brilliant finish as well from outside the box. And it's good to see Napoli just show some grit. We know they're the best defensive team in Serie A. They've only conceded 19 goals. But to see them just win these kind of games, Lazio away, you know, one of the so-called top teams as well, is a really good show of strength from the team from Naples. And next up for them on Sunday, it's first against second. Napoli will be hosting AC Milan at home. So if Napoli could win this game, I mean, they could be in the driving seat. Yes, Inter still have a game in hand on them. And if Inter win the game in hand, they will go above Napoli. But Inter still have to go away to Juventus. And they've got a few difficult fixtures to play between now and the end of the season. So fingers crossed that we see Osimhen win the Scudetto. That would be amazing. Olaina's Torino, they lost 2-1 to Cagliari at home on Sunday. Aina was an unused sub yet again. It's really frustrating to see him an unused sub. Literally, since he came back from AFCON, he hasn't been able to get into the team. He's not even playing any minutes. So that's a bit of a frustrating one there. Next up for them, though, they play Bologna away on Sunday. So hopefully we'll finally see Olaina get some minutes in this game. Isaac's success at Udinese, he came on as a substitute on Friday night as they got a credible 1-1 draw away against AC Milan. The equalizer for Udinese was actually scored by a player called Destiny Udogi. He's it's an Italy under 21 international, but he's clearly eligible for Nigeria by his name alone. So watch that space. Next up for Udinese, they play Sampdoria at home on Saturday. And then not yet bottom of the table. Venezia, Okereke and Ebuehi, they lost 3-1 to Verona away on Sunday. However, Okereke did score their consolation goal. So he's doing pretty well in Serie A so far. Although their next game is really, really tough. They play high-flying Sassuolo at home on Sunday. So I'll be very, very impressed if they manage to win that game or even get a draw, to be honest. And finally, bottom of the table, Salernitana. They drew their 4th game in a row in Serie A, 1-1. All their previous draws have been 1-1 as well. Joel Obi wasn't a new sub in this game, and Simeone was not in the squad. I'm not sure if Simeone is currently injured because he hasn't appeared in their squad in the last few games. So I'll do some more investigating on that one and get back to you guys on the next episode of the podcast. It does get easier for them. Their next game is on Friday night at San Siro against Inter Milan. So you could probably say that's an automatic L, but we've seen stranger things happen in football. And then moving on to Ligue 1, Moses Simon's Nantes continue to do really well in the league. They're now up to 7th in Ligue 1, even though they drew their game 0-0 against Metz on Sunday, although they were the away team. Next up for them, they've got a French Cup semi-final game at home against Monaco on Wednesday, so that should be a tasty affair. And then in the league, they play Montpellier at home on Sunday. Moving on to the Lorient lads, so Terramofi and Innocent Bonke, they both started their last game on Sunday as they beat Brest 1-0 away. They're now up to 16th in the league, so they've climbed out of the relegation zone by 2 points, although it's going to be a massive scrap between now and the end of the season. Next up for them, though, they host Lyon at home on Friday night, so that's going to be a tough one. And Mofi needs a goal. Like, honestly, it's been way too long since he scored, so hopefully he could get a goal sooner rather than later. Moving on to La Liga, Samuel Chukwueze's Villarreal got a credible 1-1 draw at home against Juventus in the Champions League round of 16 first leg on Tuesday night. He did start the game, which was pretty good to see. However, over the weekend, Villarreal battered Espanyol 5-1 at home. And the player who Chukwueze's been competing for a starting spot with, Yeremy Pino, the Spanish international who's still 19, he scored 4 goals. He scored 4 out of the 5 goals. So I don't know what that means for Chukwueze, but it's probably unlikely Chukwueze will start the next game considering what Yeremy Pino did. And that game is away against Osasuna on Saturday. But hey, we'll see what happens and what Unai Emery decides to do. Just a quick shout out. We're sending our thoughts out to Azza Oshoala. She's out injured again. I think she's going to be out for about 8 to 10 weeks. I think she has a thigh injury. So that's really sad considering that she was top goal scorer in La Liga. And she wasn't even able to help the Super Falcons in the recently concluded international break. Moving on to the Segunda, I just wanted to touch on Umar Sadiq. He scored yet again on Friday night as Almeria beat Fuenlabrada 3-1 at home. They're currently second in the league and they're just 1 point off Eibar in top spot. Next up for them, though, they play Real Zaragoza away on Friday night. So fingers crossed that we can finally see Umar Sadiq in La Liga, which would be lovely to see. And in the Bundesliga, and probably my star boy of the week, Taiwo Awoniyi came off the bench for Union Berlin to score his 10th league goal of the season in a 3-1 win over Mainz at home on Saturday. He is officially the first Nigerian player to hit double figures in the top 5 league in Europe this season, which is a massive, massive achievement, especially for a team like Union Berlin, who you're not exactly considered to be one of the big traditional powers in Germany. So fair play to Taiwo Awoniyi and may he continue to shine. Next up for them, they've got a German Cup quarterfinal tie at home against St. Pauli, who play in the second division on Tuesday, tomorrow night. And then on Saturday, they go away to Wolfsburg. That should be a tough tie, although Wolfsburg have dropped massively since the start of the season. So fingers crossed we can see Awoniyi keep up the good work. And he'll probably force his way back into the starting lineup after starting off the bench in the game against Mainz. Kevin Akpoguma, on the other hand, for Hoffenheim, continues to be an unused sub. Although you can't really blame Hoffenheim because they just continue to win games. Their last game was on Friday and they beat Stuttgart 2-1. They're now level on points with RB Leipzig, who are 4th, and Freiburg, who are 5th. So 4th, 5th, and 6th are all level on points in what should be a very, very tasty battle for the final Champions League spot in Germany. Next up for them, though, they play Cologne away on Sunday. So hopefully we can see Akpoguma get some minutes finally, because Lord knows it's been a while. And then finally, Dixon Abiyama at Greater Fürth. He was an unused sub in their 1-1 draw against Cologne at home on Saturday. They're 9 points off safety and they are pretty much destined to be relegated. They're going down. There's no way they're going to survive. Next up for them, though, they play Bochum away on Saturday. So another recently promoted team. So maybe they could at least give themselves a fighting chance by winning that game. But if I was a betting man, I will not bet on Greater Fürth for any reason. So that's it in terms of the top 5 leagues in Europe for the last few game week. And then moving on to the non-top 5 leagues in Europe, starting with Portugal as usual. Zedu Sansi continues to start every game for Porto. He started in the Europa League on Thursday as they drew 2-2 against Lazio, although they qualified to the round of 16 by beating by winning the aggregate scoreline 4-3. However, on the weekend on Sunday, they did draw at home to Gil Vicente in what was a bit of a surprise. However, they do remain 6 points ahead of Sporting Lisbon. And ironically, their next game is against Sporting Lisbon away on Wednesday in the Portuguese Cup semi-final first leg. So that should be a tasty, tasty tie. And then they play Pacos Ferreira away on Sunday. So I'm just really, really pleased for Sanusi. At the start of the season, it looked like he'd lost the confidence of Sergio Conceição. And he's just gone from strength to strength from like December to up until right now. And long may it continue, because we need our starting left back in the Super Eagles to be playing games for his club side. And that is exactly what Zedu Sanusi is doing. In the Dutch Eredivisie, just touch on Maduka Okoye. Maduka Okoye actually had a very, very good game. He made 8 saves for Sparta Rotterdam as they lost 2-1 at home to PSV Eindhoven, one of the traditional big teams in the Netherlands. It was actually 1-0 in this game until Sparta Rotterdam got a red card and they just capitulated. And PSV's firepower probably just told it in this game. But good to see Okoye performing well. Next up for them, they play Vitesse away on Friday night. So that should be an interesting tie. In the Belgian league, we saw Alassane Youssouf's Royal Antwerp. They're currently third and they got absolutely battered 4-1 by Club Brugge away on Sunday night. However, Alassane Youssouf continues to start games. And as I've already said before on this podcast, I really think he should be in the next Nigeria squad. No offense to Nwakaeme, but there's no reason Nwakaeme should be getting called up if Alassane Youssouf's not getting called up while playing for one of the best teams in Belgium. It just doesn't make sense to me. And anyway, next up for them, they play Beerschot at home on Sunday. So hopefully they could put some momentum on Club Brugge in second place. I think Union Saint-Gilloise are definitely going to win the title in Belgium this season, which is going to be an incredible scenario because they just got promoted. But as long as Alassane Youssouf continues to do well, hey, I'm happy to see that. And then Paul Onuachu, goal machine. He scored yet again on Sunday in a 2-0 win over KV Kortrijik. So he's now got 16 league goals for the season. I mean, at this point, he must be a hero in Belgium. All he does in Belgium is just score goals. And it's good to see that he's back to full fitness. You could say we missed Onuachu in a way during AFCON. I think if Osimhen and Onuachu were playing, Onuachu would definitely have been the first sub instead of bringing on Sadiq Umar. And you can't really argue with Onuachu's credentials for club or country in recent times. So it'll be good to see him get back into the national team ahead of our March qualifiers against Ghana as well. Next up for him in club football, though, they play Cercle Bruges away on Saturday. So that should be an interesting game. Moving on to Scotland, and Calvin Bassey continues to start every game for Rangers. He should be in the next Nigeria squad as far as I'm concerned. I'm sorry. I have no idea why he wasn't called up for AFCON or given his debut by Grenell Rowe in the first place. But Calvin Bassey and Aribo started in the Europa League on Thursday as Rangers drew 2-2 against Borussia Dortmund, but won on aggregate 6-4. So they're into the round of 16. Balogun did come on as a sub in this game. And then on the weekend on Sunday, both Calvin Bassey and Aribo started again, but they somehow drew 2-2 to Motherwell at home, which means that they're now 3 points behind Celtic. And it would be some scenario if they were to lose the title to Celtic, because before Steven Gerrard left, it looked like Rangers were going to cruise to the title. And Celtic got a new manager in Ante Postecoglou, and he's looking really, really good. I mean, he signed these 3 Japanese players, and the chemistry over there is just looking very, very good right now. So I'm a bit worried for Rangers, but at least they'll have another Old Firm game to play. So let's see what happens. Next up for them, they play St. Johnstone away on Wednesday, and then they play Aberdeen at home on Saturday in the league. And then moving on to the Turkish League, another league where we're very, very likely to see a Nigerian pick up a league title. Anthony Nwakaeme's Trabzonspor continued to fly. On Friday night, they beat Kayserispor 3-2, and it was actually 2-2 until the final minute of the game before Anthony Nwakaeme converted a last gasp penalty to win the game for them. So they're now 17 points ahead in the league. So at this point, you say that if they were to not win the league, they only have themselves to blame. Next up for them, they've got Turkish Cup duties tomorrow night on Tuesday. They play Antalyaspor at home. And then on Sunday, they play a big one away against Fenerbahce, who are currently 5th in the league. Speaking of Fenerbahce, Barasai Samuel continues to start all their games for them. He started on Thursday as they lost 3 to Slavia Prague in the UEFA Conference League. So they're now out of Europe. And then on Monday, earlier today, Fenerbahce beat Kasimpasa 2-1, courtesy of a last-minute goal as well. So next up for them, they play Trabzonspor at home. So we'll see how they get on in that fixture. Chineze Awoniyi was an unused sub yet again. He's another player who, since coming back from AFCON, has just been an unused sub for his club, and it's really frustrating to see. They won 5-1 at home on Sunday against Konyaspor. So, to be fair, if you're winning 5-1 and your centre-back's doing all right, what's that adage? If it ain't broke, there's no need to fix it. So maybe that's the situation we're seeing here, and Awoniyi just needs to bide his time. They do play in the Turkish Cup on Thursday at home against Gaziantep. So you'd like to think that Awoniyi would at least get a run out in this game. And then in the league, they play Kayserispor away on Monday. And then finally, Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa was on the score sheet, and she scored the winning goal for Fatih Karagümrük away to Istanbul Basaksehir on Saturday night. So good to see Ahmed Musa get back into the goals. They're also in action in the Turkish Cup quarterfinal. They play Sivasspor away on Wednesday. And then in the league, they will play Altay on Sunday at home. The Russian league resumed this weekend. I know we've heard about all the chaos in Russia, but it seems like at least the football's going on for now. Chida was in action for CSKA Moscow as they beat Spartak Moscow 2-0 away. Very, very good result for them. Educate did not start the game, though. He came on as a sub, which was a bit surprising considering he'd been starting all their games prior to AFCON. So let's see what's happening there. Next up for them, they play PFC Sochi away on Wednesday in the Russian Cup. And then on Sunday, they play Nizhny Novgorod at home in the league. So we'll keep our eyes peeled. And we wish Educate safety. And we hope that the league goes on. Or if it doesn't, I want to see Educate out there in the summer. I'm not going to lie. Regardless of what happens, I'm not sure it was necessarily the smartest move to go to Russia. But hey, it's his life and he can do what he pleases. But we continue to wish him all the best. In the Greek league, we saw Henryekou's Olympiacos play in the Europa League initially on Thursday. They got battered 3-0 by Atalanta. We know Atalanta are a Champions League team anyway, so that's not necessarily surprising. And they're now out of Europe. However, in the weekend, they beat Crete 2-0. But I noticed Onyekuru was not in the squad, so I don't know if he's injured or if he's picked up a niggle or something. But anyway, next up for them, they play Asteras Tripolis at home on Wednesday. And then they go away to play a team called Aris on Sunday in the Greek league. In the Czech league, Peter Olayinka started the 3-2 win over Fenerbahce in the UEFA Conference League. So Slavia Prague have progressed to the next round of that tournament in Europe. And then in the league on Sunday, they thrashed Hradec Kralov 5-1 to maintain their grip on top spot in the league. However, this weekend they played the Prague derby, so Sparta Prague will come over to play Slavia Prague in the league. So hopefully Slavia Prague could get one over their fierce rivals in the game. And then finally, in Cyprus, we saw Shehu Abdullahi start for Omonia Nicosia as they lost 4-2 at home to Apoel Nicosia. I'm sure the Omonia Nicosia fans were not happy about that at all. Can't lose to your fierce rivals 4-2 at home. But anyway, next game for them, they play Ethnikos Achna on Sunday. So that's it in terms of the roundup of our players in Europe for the past week of football. Starboy, as I already mentioned, I have to give it to Taiwo Awoniyi. For him to have hit his 10th Bundesliga goal of the season is a great achievement. It's good to see him fit this year, even though he was in a bit of a rotten spell recently. For him to come off the bench and get into double figures and be the first Nigerian player to hit double figures in any of the top 5 leagues in Europe this season is a massive achievement for Union Berlin. Definitely repaying the faith they showed in him by splashing out the cash on his contract and also making him their record signing in Union Berlin's history. They've got 10 games left in the Bundesliga, and I would like to think that Taiwo Awoniyi could at least get another 5. So watch this space. I'm hoping he could get to 15 league goals for the season, and that would be a great achievement for him. Moving on to the Champions League, we had 4 other fixtures take place last week. Chelsea beat Lille 2-0. Fairly routine win for Chelsea, to be fair, as we expected in that game. I believe Pulisic scored one of the goals in that game. And then we saw Chukwueze's Villarreal draw against Juventus. Dusan Vlahovic scored an absolute great goal to put Juventus ahead. And I know, Arsenal fan, it's a shame to have lost that on him, but he's clearly doing very, very well for Juventus. On Wednesday, we saw Benfica draw 2-2 at home to Ajax. Ajax pretty unlucky not to win that game, to be fair. And it leaves the tie finally poised. And then finally, Anthony Elanga scored equalizer for Man United. Atletico Madrid. So that is a finely poised tie as well. Atletico's goal was scored by João Felix. So we'll see what happens at Old Trafford in about 2 weeks' time from today. In the Europa League, we saw Sevilla, Atalanta, RB Leipzig, Porto, Barcelona, Real Betis, Rangers, and Braga all progress to the round of 16, where they're going to play the 8 teams that finished top of the group in the Europa League. So we've got Porto playing Lyon in what's a very, very tasty tie. That kicks off next week on the 9th of March. Real Betis play Eintracht Frankfurt. That should be another good tie. RB Leipzig were due to play Spartak Moscow, but Spartak Moscow have been thrown out of Europe. So I think RB Leipzig are going to get a bye to the quarterfinals. Sevilla hosts West Ham. That's a very, very tasty tie. You've got Sevilla with their 6 Europa League trophies against West Ham, who are pretty much novices in Europe at this point in time. Rangers play Crvena Zvezda. I've forgotten the other name we always call them. But anyway, that should be a good tie. Braga play Monaco. Atalanta hosts Bayer Leverkusen. And finally, Barcelona host Galatasaray. It will not surprise me if Barcelona win the Europa League, to be fair. They look really, really good. I'll say Barcelona, Atalanta, and Sevilla look like the standouts for me from the team so far. So we'll see how it goes in the Europa League. Just to round up the podcast, in terms of Nigerian news, we saw the Super Falcons make the African Women's Cup of Nations after they won the second leg against Ivory Coast 1-0. So they won 3-0 on aggregate. Congratulations to the Super Falcons. It's a shame that after winning from representing your country and winning, they had an issue where they got stranded at the Abuja airport, which was really, really sad to see. Like, Nigeria, we really have to get our administration in order, man. When it comes to just player welfare and just doing certain things right and by the book, it seems like the country just still struggles at all levels, whether it's sports or government. It seems like music is the only thing that really, really thrives, at least, and things are done the proper way. But anyway, just to round up, ones to watch for this week. Taiwo Awoniyi is in action against St. Pauli tomorrow night in the German Cup. We want to see him add to his tally. And then Wolfsburg come to Union Berlin's home on Saturday. So really, really good opportunity for Awoniyi to keep up the momentum. Moses Simon is in action against Monaco in the French Cup semi-final. So that is on Wednesday. And then his team Nantes hosts Montpellier at home on Sunday. Zedu Sanusi is in action against Sporting Lisbon in the Battle of the Heavyweights in the Portuguese Cup semi-final on Wednesday. Terra Murphy and Innocent Bonke's Lorient host Lyon at home on Friday. We've seen Murphy score big goals against big teams, so I'm hoping we can see him get back into form in this game. Emmanuel Dennis's Watford will be hosting Arsenal on Sunday afternoon, so that should be an interesting game. Osimhen, Napoli versus AC Milan on Sunday. Battle between first and second. That's probably the game I'm most looking forward to from all these fixtures. And then finally, Anthony Nwakaeme's Trabzonspor go to Fenerbahce away on Sunday with a 17-point lead over second place in the Turkish Super Lig. So hopefully they can extend their lead and continue to just ride straight to the title. So that's it for this episode of the podcast. Episode 51. We're going to keep the content coming. Please remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Nigerian Football Weekly. Continue to spread the word. And if you have any suggestions or things you'd like to get in touch with me about, you can do it across any of our social media channels. Twitter at NFWPOD, Instagram at Nigerian Football Weekly, Facebook at facebook.com/Nigerian Football Weekly, or leave a comment on our YouTube channel, which is Nigerian Football Weekly. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you with the roundup of the next set of football games from the coming week. Peace out. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get a notification whenever we drop a video. You can also find our social media channels listed below. And of course, up Super Eagles and Nigeriano the ever carry last.